I, male 27, am gay. My mom and dad were amazing, and I felt nothing but love and acceptance from them. My uncle, on the other hand, is an idiot. He's my mom's baby brother, and ever since I came out, he's been avoiding me and telling everyone that I shouldn't be setting myself against God's will for my life. At a family get-together when I was a teen, he ran over and took my cousins away from the area where I was playing with them, because I shouldn't be alone with children. He's one of those guys. So my parents are out of town visiting my grandparents, and I work from home in my own house. His 2 older kids are away at school, and his babies are 7 and 5. My aunt is having elective surgery and will be in recovery for a couple of days. He had some kind of work emergency and showed up at my house with my little cousin. He said he needed to go to work, and can I please watch my cousin for the day? I laughed at him, said no, and slammed my door in his face. My husband heard the slam and came down to ask what had happened. When I told him, he said I was burning bridges. My uncle was nice to me growing up. He used to take me out for rides in his old Jeep. He was my hero. Dropping me like I was nothing when I came out, I don't think I owe him anything. But now my parents are calling me saying that I'm acting immature and that family is there for each other. He wouldn't even come to my wedding. He's treated me like crap since I came out, but I was impolite after he tried to get me to watch my cousins in an emergency. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but your parents, uncle and husband are. You just returned the favor when he slammed the door in your face years ago. If the family is there for each other according to your parents, where were they with that sentiment when your uncle was being a fool and not attending your wedding? Agreed, he burned the bridge a long time ago. The last part where he said he didn't come to his wedding sealed it for me. You'll see who your real friends and family are when you get married. I had people travel across the country to be there and others who live 30 minutes away who couldn't be bothered. I'm sorry, but that bridge was already burned. The uncle burned it and OP confirmed it. I hate this mentality so many people have that it's up to the victim to be the bigger person and build bridges with the people who hurt them when the people that hurt them aren't even apologizing. Uncle just needed to use him and would go back to hating him after he picked up his kids. Yeah, I want to know if OP's parents called his uncle immature and lectured him that family is there for each other. Why does the because family guilt only ever seem to get directed towards the person who was wronged first? Also, according to the uncle, this fellow shouldn't be alone with children, so he's just respecting his uncle's boundaries. Exactly. Uncle took his kids away from playing with OP at a family gathering because he shouldn't be alone with children and hasn't had contact with OP for years. But now he thinks it's okay to leave even younger children with a grown man? Oh, no, no, no. Do not trust Uncle, and I would point out this discrepancy to anyone who says OP is an idiot. Uncle stopped being OP's family a long time ago. I, female 30, had my son 2 weeks ago. I gave birth at a private hospital and my husband requested to take a video of our son being born, and I refused because it involved my privacy, but then I agreed after he said he wanted to keep it as a memory for us as a family. Last night we were visiting my in-laws, and I caught a glimpse of the video on my sister-in-law's phone. My throat closed up from the shock. The video was muted. I asked if my husband had sent her this video. She said yes. As a matter of fact, he shared it with the whole family. I couldn't bear it. I just walked into the kitchen where he was sitting playing a board game with his dad and blew up at him. I asked how he could do this to me and he played dumb for a minute. I mentioned the video and how he shared what is considered private content with his family without even getting my consent. He acted like it was no big deal, but I kept scolding him. Finally, he yelled back, saying that this was not about me and that his family deserved to witness our son's first moments in his life. Finally, his mom came in, asking what the commotion was about, and his dad offered to get everyone to delete the video as a solution. His mom sided with him and agreed it was about their grandbaby's first moments. I felt so overwhelmed I decided to leave. He came home later saying that I made him look small when I started yelling and scolding him in front of his family. He insisted it wasn't about me and that he shared a video of the baby. He didn't understand how I took it, as in he invaded my privacy and disrespected me. I refused to speak to him after that, and he's still acting hurt that I treated him poorly in front of his parents, when I could have talked to him about it privately. He chose to push your boundaries on taking the video. He decided to lie about his intentions to gain consent for the video. He shared that video without your knowledge or consent. He minimized and blew off your feelings about all of the above and tried to flip it onto you instead. Don't you dare apologize to that man. You are not the idiot 100%. Family deleting the video is a start, but it won't fix the whole situation and the shattering of trust. He needs to acknowledge the enormity of what he's done and how he's manipulated and lied. He needs to appreciate exactly what he's done and offer some way to improve this. Wow, my mouth is on the floor. I can't believe he did that to you. I'm so sorry. I'd be filing a lawsuit against him and then divorcing him. What he did is unforgivable. I'm so sorry he did this to you. Someone in his family should have jumped on him as soon as they received that video and told him how inappropriate it was for him to share your most personal private moment with anyone. Depending on where you live, that is, in fact, illegal. I'd also have the family delete it or you'll be going no contact, because that's a huge breach of privacy. This is divorce-worthy in my book. What other boundaries doesn't he respect? Take a long look at your marriage, because I find it hard to believe this is the only red flag. Get a divorce lawyer. If I were you, OP, I would want to put no effort into this man or marriage. I would have my family over to help me pack up and leave him. There are men out there who would treat you with respect and be overwhelmed with gratitude that you had their baby. Your husband is not one of them. Leave him. My fiancé, 30 male, and I, 26 female, recently engaged. We discussed a few things about the wedding, and I told my fiancé I'd like to have the wedding on my dad's farm. To give context about the farm, this was my dad's farm where we grew up. Our mother abandoned us. We didn't have much, and Dad struggled to keep us afloat throughout the years. He had many chances to sell the farm, but he refused and said that it was the only thing he had when he had nothing else. He passed away 5 years ago. He couldn't get a chance to attend my wedding, but I thought that since his spiritual presence on the farm is strong, I could have the wedding there. This way, I'm including him in my milestone and having him be there to support me spiritually. My fiancé laughed at my illogical thinking and said that I better just pay for a venue, but I couldn't afford it. He didn't believe that my family and I couldn't afford a venue, and then he and his mom started complaining about what the guests would say about the chosen place for the wedding, how they'll basically laugh, and how the guests themselves are of high class, and inviting them to the farm will make them, fiancé and family, look small. I pointed out the sentimentality aspect, but my fiancé lashed out at me, saying that I was being a dictator and that the farm represents zero sentimentalities to him and his family. So we started arguing, and he suggested I get a loan or something and forget the whole farm idea, even after I explained how we could make the place look elegant with lighting and decorations, but he was having none of it. His mom pulled me aside yesterday and urged me to let go of this horrible idea and started figuring out how to pay for a decent venue. I stopped speaking to her despite her pressuring me via hourly phone calls. My fiancé is giving me silent treatment at the moment. Context. Their problem is with the state of the farm, but I suggested doing some decorations to make it more appealing. Where I live, the bride and her parents are expected to handle the cost of the wedding. Not the idiot. So you're expected to pay for the whole thing? If they're so high class, why aren't they paying? Or at least helping? Frankly, I think that's a silly custom, but that's neither here nor there. Are you sure you want to marry this man? He laughed at your request that's so important to you and is the one acting like a dictator. There are plenty of wedding venues on farms. You just dress them up. They give a rustic vibe that many people like and pay top dollar for. Rich of him to call OP a dictator when he demands an expensive venue, shoots down her idea and says that she must take out a loan for a wedding that she can't afford, complaining that she's making them look small. Your fiancé laughing about something important to you? Red flags everywhere. Your hopefully ex-fiancé is showing you who he is. Listen to him. My advice? Run. Is this for real? Like, for real, for real? His mom pulled me aside yesterday and urged me to let go of this horrible idea and start figuring out a way to pay for a decent venue. I'm urging you now to let go of this horrible fiancé and start finding a way to find a decent one. You can take it as a message from your late dad. Is this the kind of man that your dad would want you to tie yourself to? Drop the fiancé and his family. The red flags are way too many. Do not commit yourself to this man. They crapped all over you, your family, and your life. If this is for real, run. Run far away. My male 36 teen son's dog passed away recently. I signed him up with a therapist because his dog's death has left him unable to speak. He's been in therapy for 2 weeks now. 2 days ago, my son called crying, saying his stepdad punished him by taking his bicycle and selling it for no reason. I was livid. I went to have a word with his stepdad, who told me that there was a reason. My son bad-mouthed him to the therapist and claimed that he treated the dog poorly. I was floored at this. I argued with him, asked him how he knew, and told him to prove that my son said all that. He showed me texts between him and my son's therapist. So basically, the therapist had been giving out private info about a bunch of stuff my son talked about in therapy. I was even more floored. I went straight to that therapist and we had a huge argument. I told him I would report him after he defended himself, saying he gave my son's stepdad this info because of concern as a parent. I said that I didn't give a crap what the justification was and went on with my report. He tried to talk about how he felt for my son's stepdad and his concerns as a parent, so he didn't think he did anything wrong. My son's mom called after she found out about the report and she blew up at me on the phone, calling me a controlling idiot for what I did. I ignored her calls after that, but my own wife thought I had made a hasty decision and that the real problem was with my son's stepdad, not the therapist. Was I in the wrong for reporting him? Not the idiot. There's a reason those conversations are private. Not even the parent should know what is talked about. Your poor son will have a very difficult time trusting someone else. What this therapist did was against the law. Your son was not in danger of hurting himself or someone else. Nothing helpful could have come from the therapist telling stepdad this info. But the therapist felt bad for the stepdad. Does no one care that the stepdad is a parent too and he has feelings? OP, I hope that therapist has their license yanked, and you may want to consider adjusting the custody agreement if your boy's stepdad lashes out like this. Your wife is right that the stepdad is a part of the problem. Your report wasn't hasty. It was the right decision. I can't even imagine what kind of BS this quack has been telling that poor kid. I'm guessing it's something like, men don't cry, or it was just a stupid dog. Stepdad's feelings hurt so bad he took a bike away from a young man. My bike was like my car is today. I'm the daughter of a therapist and I'm currently getting my own degree in psychology to become a therapist myself eventually. However, this story made me incredibly angry. I have many concerns about this situation. First, if your son has been barely speaking for 2 weeks about the death of a pet, it must have been extremely traumatic. And if he's saying his stepfather treated the dog badly, well, let your imagination run wild. If the stepfather was innocent in all this, why retaliate? I don't think that home is a safe place for your son, and at the very least, the stepfather is being cruel and vindictive. And at the worst, which is pure speculation, he had something to do with the dog dying. I would sue for full custody ASAP. I have 2 daughters. My biological daughter, Alicia, young child, and my stepdaughter, Marissa, teen. I started dating my wife Natalie 2.5 years ago, and we've been married for 7 months. Marissa's father is, to be blunt, a narcissistic idiot, and Natalie works long hours. So while there were some issues at first, we've gotten really close. Plus, Alicia completely loves and looks up to her big sister. My sister May has been planning her wedding. I'm the best man. She wanted Alicia to be her flower girl, and our nephews were both involved. They want a child-free wedding but made an exception for every niece and nephew aside from Marissa. I understand not having Marissa in the wedding party, but having all the cousins but Marissa at the wedding isn't right. I tried to talk to May about it, but it's gone poorly. She thinks it's fine that Marissa doesn't have a role, so there's no reason to bring her, that she doesn't want more children at the wedding, that she barely knows Marissa, so it's not the same as Alicia. So it would be me, Nat, and Alicia there as well as all the cousins, but Marissa has to stay at home. While I can see where she's coming from, I don't agree at all. I told May that if she excludes Marissa, Alicia and I won't be coming. She's furious about me not supporting her, losing the flower girl and best man, and thinks I'm being selfish. I've tried to avoid fighting over it and just to repeat that I won't attend and stay out of it, but May is furious, and my parents and brother have been badgering me about it as well. Everyone thinks I'm being unreasonable, that it's May's choice, but that doesn't mean I have to be okay with it. She can make her choice, and I'll make mine. I've made so much progress trying to show Marissa that she's family and loved, and I'm not going to let them treat her like an outsider. Still, I've been getting a lot of pressure from my family, and I may be being unreasonable. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but May is the idiot. No children is fine. No children except nieces and nephews is fine, but no children except nieces and nephews but not including that one is ridiculously arbitrary and just plain nasty. And she's not supporting you by trying to exclude just your stepdaughter. What is it about weddings that makes so many brides, grooms, and mothers of the bride and groom go all irrational? It's not a child-free wedding if there are certain hand-selected children there. Having a child-free wedding is fine, provided you understand that most people with kids aren't willing to sacrifice their limited babysitter time and budget for your wedding. However, having a wedding where you hand-select certain children to be your photo props and then resent them being there the rest of the time is what May is doing, and it isn't a child-free wedding. Yeah, the optics are especially horrible if the bride wants to use Marissa's sister Alicia as the flower girl. Props to you for sticking up for a child instead of bowing to the demands of an unkind bride. Lord help the world if she decides to have children. Stay home with both of your children, OP.